17th, and yes, Uber will eat a hole.
I mean, honestly,
And if it's not a 3-0 affair, we'll make a visit to Safe Zone and Shooting Star. I'm still thinking about that, Charlie. It is still sticking in my memory. That as a ban, I feel like is pretty much to open up aggression for them. I think New Heights Gaming really want to be able to deliver something to Loud's backlines.
Yeah, I mean, BB and Bull are both left open. They're a fan favorite, and now it's going to be our first map in this series. We're on Sneaky Fields, my bad. A very bushy map, also all about mid-control. Ems would have been a really good pick on a map like this one. Spike and Charlie too. Let's see what's going to be the first pick here instead for Loud. As I mentioned before, BB is still open. Bull actually banned out.
I mean, they're banning Shelly. So you know they're going to try and pick a tank bowler straight off the rip. No Charlie. Now, obviously, with no Shelly, yeah, Dog is going to be making sure that they can benefit from the global ban of Charlie with their stopping power. Great start. I do think that there's plenty of room to answer this with a tank pick of New Heights' own, but they have answered some of the counters to them, and they've also taken Bull off the table. They must have expected Loud to have made this first pick.
I completely agree. I think this is New Heights Gaming. They banned Bull, one of the best ways to counter BB, probably the only way to counter BB reliably. Oh, but here it comes again. The buzz to deal with BB. Stun her. You're able to shoot that torpedo so quickly that she's not able to wind up her knockback in time to react unless you're doing it from like max range somehow. No one's telegraphing it that hard. Now, I wonder if we could even see Anita come in. Usually it's a response for Bull, but it lurks in these bushes so effectively that I want to see this potentially as a way to deal with the BB. Could also get a thrower in here depending on whether there's wall break from Loud.
So far, it really looks like, yes, they knew BB is going to be picked up here as first pick. After good answer, decent answers, we saw that boss versus BB matchup before. Now on the right-hand side, they're choosing to support that BB even further. That poker is going to come in handy. Left side, I would open up the map at this point, honestly. Ross would still be open for that. And yeah, as you said, Nita could also still come in here. Has been picked up quite often on this map. She doesn't have the highest win rate, but I'm sure you can make her work somehow.
I do think that the poker pick is a double down on the tank setup here for Loud. They do know, obviously, that Gale can be quite problematic, but we've seen Gale picked into the BB already and not really on its own able to provide enough. And now we are going to have some very big, bulky bodies on the map, empowered by overshields from that hypercharged Poco Super. This is going to be a very hard composition to blow up, to damage down. And when you draft Gale, you don't have a ton of damage in your comp anyway. That's a brawler that really is there for its utility.
But you're making Kenny happy, who is unfortunately not here with us today, but he loves this brawler.
I know that Kenny was tickled when he saw how frequently Gale was picked in EMEA, but no, folks, this is not EMEA, and I just wonder if the Gale's going to be able to succeed here. I feel like into Poco, it should be fine. Into BB, it should also be fine, unless she's able to peek around the corners effectively. The Primo now should be also very useful for dealing damage to that BB should get in close range, toss her up in the air, plenty of stuns to interrupt her attacks, but you're also going to be feeding damage. You have to keep that in mind. This is going to be an interesting one, Uber. We see Loud in the grand finals. It feels like it's where they're supposed to be. New Heights Gaming making a return. They got second place last month, now gunning for #1.
Senior, New Heights Gaming in blue at the bottom of the map, already getting run over. Adinho able to make great use of these bushes to build a super. And here comes Bruce. Looks pretty funny with this Stranger Things skin, but make no mistake, that bear is all about throwing hands. Big map control here for Loud early on in the round, but Prosy will have a chance to spawn back in.
Prosy on the right side, equipped with that super, wants to get up close to someone. Is he just going to go for the entire team? You honestly could get away with it, as Primo lets Firecrow approach him and then knock him back, still waiting for that opening. He doesn't want to feed Adinho, but he's just going to go for it. The stronghold on the left side, obviously going to get knocked back, but now he has a hypercharge still as a takedown. Now the #1 defender in Brawl Stars is eliminated. Firecrow can pass this one up and have a walk through, but Wesley has gotten his super in time. That could have been a goal for Loud if they'd lined up the super properly. A total missed opportunity.
That great twist to use there by Wesley, allowing them to maintain possession of the ball. Okay, that's not great. Adinho here with a Super Bruce waiting in the wings, of course. That hypercharge can be pretty darn deadly. Loud, though, really not rushing this, are they? Here is the Super Bruce, though. Prosy going to be taking damage from that straight up, and also that overshield is going to be hard to break through. The damage just isn't there. Screeching Solo gets some good pressure down on Wesley. He's already made use of that Super, and Loud just want to bully their way through. They got to respect the buzz here, and the ball gets past Winona, but eventually it'll be a Loud goal.
That was a worthy attempt from New Heights. I feel like the better move would have been to super that ball right down the field, just throw it away. Instead, tried to dribble it forward, and then also miss the super. Here comes the Hypercharge and the reaction from Wesley. It is Hypercharge for Hypercharge, but Firecrow has a bunch of HP and movement speed. Prosy's going to be the first one to act. The heals come in from Kyodog, and everyone from Loud remains alive. This is a fully defensive comp for New Heights Gaming. They have offensive potential, but they're finding themselves so much more frequently on defense.
They have no damage. They just don't do damage. Ready. Prosy trying to step forward here, but having to make use of a point blank super, and there it is, Loud. Get their 2 goals and take that first round away. It feels like New Heights never really got into the map.
No, not really. They, stepped up to the plate in the very first pitch. They kind of existed there for a while and were promptly moved back. It's challenging for them to get mobility. Like Gale is good for defense, Primo's good for defense. Buzz is good for defense. Yeah, no wonder they stayed alive there so long, but no wonder they also were mostly there. This is promising, however. A pass up to El Primo, no pushback, no stun. Easy one for Prosy before they feed too much utility to Loud. They've gotten the advantage.
Okay, Loud to have supers, though. This Bruce should let them at least get ball possession. Another super here from Wesley. Now, there's going to be a lot of Gale supers in this game, but they all need to be quite impactful, because as soon as you give Loud a break for those goals, they will convert and score.
This could be an alley-oop. No opportunity. Firecrow took up space at mid. Prosy will be able to get the kill. No, Primo to assist. Now he's just going for Primo. It was an easy kill for Edinho because Primo's just not on enough health to deal with that. And look how much Winona has been forced back by that bear from Edinho. Easy to kill, but you have to respect its position. Hypercharge now, and the stun has been cleared away from Kyodog because he had that gadget. It's going to be an easy take of mid for Loud. They just have so much ability to cancel out stuff from New Heights Gaming.
Okay, there is that overshield from the Poco. Nice dive in there, though, by Prosy. Good damage in the end. Able to find 2. Firecrow gets suplexed back, and Prosy's able to take him down. That's going to be 2-0 here for New Heights, evening up the set.
Wow, and just like that, things have flipped around. Difficult to track, honestly. Primo had so much forward momentum. As Primo, you have enough health, you have the knockback to jump on the entire team and get away with it a lot of times because you cycle that super so quickly off of your melee damage that you can chain supers together. It's one of those brawlers, unlike Mortis, for example, where you can dive into the enemy team. See Loud take up space early on. It's going to be a swift victory for Firecrow, but the ball is nowhere to be seen. Wesley managed to toss it forward. Kyodog and Edinho both thrown into the air by the Twister, but it doesn't change the outcome. It's still mid-position for Loud.
Firecrow's in a great spot to get free damage here. Look at that, already pops the Vitamin Booster as they come forward anyway. Start swinging. There's that faux fur here, making it hard to break through Bruce. Once again, Loud have all their map control, and Kyodog was able to avoid that Gale super as well. Firecrow slips through, takes down the Gale, and gives Loud an early lead.
As long as the deaths are staggered, Loud is able to push through, okay? As long as they're fighting way optimal matchups. Look at this, Wesley gets a ton of pushback. It's gonna be super cycled as well. Whoa, interesting bubble. Oh, now it's a respawn. Wesley trapped in a box full of pain. Winona needs this stun. He's gonna get it. No, it's completely missed and a walk through for Edinho. Set 1 to Loud.
Nice conversion there from Loud. We did feel like they had the better composition. And like I said, as soon as we see one underwhelming blustery blow from the Gale, it's over. All that happened to Loud was they were slightly inconvenienced, some gum on the bottom of their shoe, but then they simply ran it down and scored that second goal to take the set.
Yeah, coming into this, we posed the question, is it wise to leave BB open? Do they have an answer to it? It was immediately first pick here for Loud, and the answer was Buzz and Gale, and it was not enough. We clearly saw that. I'm actually so surprised they made it work in the second game.
I genuinely think that this was the best reaction from Loud, though, because you see mechanically how they executed this. Poco was on point with the nullification of those stuns. You see Primo jumping in, but especially Buzz.
The Buzz
those
jump.
stuns. Yeah, look at that. You can see it right now. Kyodog cancels it out. This is a goal opportunity right there. Prosy didn't manage to interrupt things too much either. It was a mechanical difference. I feel like New Heights Gaming picked something that like wins on paper, probably won versus most of their opponents, but Loud is not most opponents. They are singularly above the rest.
I was trying to look, I was like, wait, is this just the Buzz gadget that doesn't give you the stun?
No.
No, they were all natty supers, and all of the stuns were getting cancelled out by protective tunes. That's a gadget that we don't get to talk about enough, and that was incredible work from Kaido to make sure he always had it ready.
They also always seem to have a super available, honestly, that poker.
Moment. You saw like Gale running the slow into all of this beefy stuff where you probably should be running the stun, but it's the same deal. Probably going to get canceled out by Poco. Let's talk draft here on Dueling Beetles. The Ziggy is banned out. He's probably the best brawler on this map. And a first selection of Lu, execution-heavy brawler, but an execution-profiting team.
Leon is left open.
I think the Stu ban is super interesting. That feels like a brawler that is a go-to for Loud, especially on these hot zone maps. So maybe concerns about leaving it over, but they do need to find a brawler that has the evasive potential to have that staying power. Finks is an option, right? This is the kind of map that can be a little bit harder to go with that with, just because the walls allow for throwers to be a bit more annoying, something that Finks can mitigate with his super, but not quite as easily. Powerful brawler in the Mina picked up here for Prozzy. Amazing in a side lane, and when they need to actually go in and fight on the point, they're one of the best to do it.
Into the Lu, you probably want to break open the map. He's just going to throw down super, and you all of a sudden have no way anymore to come into that middle, or you can't hit your opponents hiding in that little corner. Opening up the map would be my way to go here. I guess they decide with something else. I would have definitely picked up a bow at this stage. They're going to go with Chloe. He is a super strong brawler. He is global banned or banned most of the time. So yeah, Chloe and Mina, pretty solid comp. Is it going to be good into a Lu though?
Yeah, because Mina is able to avoid those shots from Lu. I want to point out that Stu is one of the greatest ways to deal with Lu because you're able to dodge those shots back and forth. So they wanted that Lu first. That's why they banned out the Stu. A thrower coming in. And a great support can also like be quite aggressive with his super. So they're going to go for persistence. They want to outlast what New Heights Gaming has to offer. I think that Mina is going to be lacking on DPS. Same could go for Glowy. Like he can do a lot, but around the walls it's going to be troublesome. So unless they decide to now pivot to something that breaks open walls, that Barry's going to be a big issue.
In the past, it was Ash or Meg that used to get paired with the berry on these hot zone maps, right? A tank that can really benefit from that healing. Kenji fills a similar role. We actually saw Berry Kenji by, even back in 2023. I think SK Gaming were trying to play this comp a whole lot on hot zone. So still decent. Kenji, of course, has fallen off a bit. Isn't quite the powerhouse that he used to be. Also, you know, a hypercharged super that also got tuned down after that was considered very powerful. And I do think that New Heights are in the wall break plan here, especially because Glowy wants those wider sight lines anyway.
I'm surprised it's Kenji and not Mortis that we've seen so often from Loud today, and he has a buff. He is super strong in the current meta. On the left-hand side, once again, they don't go with the wall break that we suggested with the bow, but they're still going to follow that strategy, and I think that's exactly what you want to do. If you have a Glowy on your roster, you want the map to be as wide open as possible so they can't hide behind walls and break the line of sight.
I think Bo, like, you know, as a wall breaker can be useful, but not really one that's in the order when you want something that is there to break walls. Plus, Rift gets it for free right off the bat, so it's pretty useful. Also, are you going to put mines on your own side and like hope that someone trips over them? No, not really. Look at Fire Crow on this Kenji. Immediately wins the Mina matchup. That is why Kenji is here. He outlasts Mina. She really struggles in this particular 1v1, and she was solo on the right side with no assistance. However, New Heights Gaming is actually taking quite a bit of room on the point. No issue for Fire Crow. He's going to continue isolating these 1v1 interactions. Aggressive in from Adinho. Pops Wesley back and gets the kill. Loud now all over this point. They have that super down to deny positioning for Winona, who's stranded on the right lane.
Yeah, big commitment there for Adinho. Even went in with a gadget for that extra little bit of knockback and pressure. Firecrow here should look to try and get forward if they can. You can see how annoying Glowy is with the map fully open. Hypercharge super there from the Mina. Adinho ceases to exist, and Firecrow has to get out. There's a real window here for New Heights to play through.
Fire Crow healing up quite a bit. The right side now has been open with Kyodog taking down Winona. Fire Crow gets another elimination onto Wesley. It's only Prozzy. He would like to get forward with the windmill and create some space, but it's just not happening. Going in solo, now opening things up to his teammates, getting obliterated by this hypercharge, and a kind of waste of a hypercharge from Winona as well. Didn't do anything for his team. It could have been used for a retake.
Yeah, it's just for damage from behind the wall. I do get that that's what makes that Hyper so good. Nice resets off the Mina supers here, but Adinho is able to survive and waits to get stunned up before he can complete that kill via tether. Another super here. In fact, from both the Lu and the Kenji. Loud are all over this like moss on a rock. It's not close.
Just a 100-0 outdraft for Loud, if you ask me. I'm going to be very impressed if New Heights Gaming manage to make a comeback here, if they can find any way of doing this. Also, did you notice the Kenji sticker on the back of Firecrow's tablet? Like,
nice.
A little bit of foreshadowing, maybe a context clue that we didn't pick up on. But man, he has been quite something on this brawler. They're going to send Prosy on the right lane once again. It's exactly what Firecrow wanted. Got the sticker of the brawler that he's playing at the moment, but Winona was ready to rebuff him, and same goes for Prosy. The damage from Glowy is in. Loud forced off at this point.
Yeah, a lot of healing obviously being gilded by the berry. It's still a little bit half allowed to sort of play forward. Still, Kaidog's able to build up a super in that last engagement. Prosy going to be getting resets off those supers. Be very annoying, knocking Loud all up and down. Adinho, though, goes forward. Man, he knows how to play. My goodness. Nice berry pressure. He goes straight after the Mina's able to pick them up. And Firecrow now can play amidst the ice cream puddles and get that healing that he needs.
Cycled super also for Adinho. Allows Firecrow to stay alive even longer. Oh, near impact there from Firecrow. He's going to have to wrap around the bottom because Kaidog and Adinho are getting pressured way too hard by this almost invincible duo of Wesley and Griff as he circles around the top, wants that super to really properly clear things out, and it would be the best time to have it right now. Hypercharge active from Mina, but it's a huge hypercharge from Lu. Prosy forced all the way back, and Firecrow actually pursues way too long, but it's fine. Loud have the positioning on the point. They don't have the utility to stay here alive, so they're going to have to back up and wait for Firecrow to catch
Yeah, just the stuns here are insane from Kaidog. Really connecting some very impactful supers. Firecrow should be able to go after Glowy here easily enough. Powerful as Wesley's brawler is, they are alone. Winona here's got a hypercharged super, hoping to cycle it, but only getting that one hit. Now the wall break will be used to deny Firecrow that safe place to play from. A Prosy's down yet again. This is an open and shut case. My goodness. Send him to jail for this draft. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Loud go up 2-0.
Excellent performance here from Loud. I think this one was decided after the P's and B's were all complete.
Jail. Immediately. Go to jail.
It's pretty gruesome there. I mean, New Heights Gaming, this is not the New Heights Gaming that we saw in the quarterfinals and the semifinals.
Yeah.
Heck, they made it through flawlessly, and now they haven't managed to get anything yet.
Yeah, these are the first two sets to actually lose today, and both of them due to a draft that is a little subpar. I feel, yeah, Glowy's super strong, but it's just not that good on the map like this one. Lu was the first pick, and Lu for me was the MVP despite Firecrow getting the most kills here. Kaidog was cycling supers like crazy, and even if on the left hand side New Heights Gaming was in complete control, they were almost in spawn of their opponents, they had no chance of actually standing in the hot zone.
That is just so much damage from a Lu. That is not right.
No.
New Heights got clapped by the Unk comp, bro. That is so nasty. And you saw so many of those hypercharged supers coming up at really timely moments, just when it looked like New Heights were getting ahead. And there were some times that early in the round, things were going pretty well for New Heights. They were surviving, they were getting some point percentage, but it wasn't uncontested because Loud was still there. Loud was still accruing capture percentage as well. There was at no point really that New Heights had that solo control out of that space.
It's not usual that Lu is hitting all these shots.
Yeah,
not
it
into
was sick.
Amina either. No, this is just a mechanical diff also from Loud. So draft is not in your favor. Mechanics are not in your favor. What do you even have at that point? You need to lock back in and get a grip because you have to win 3 sets in a row now, New Heights.
Yeah, Kaidog for me, the MVP in that last one with the Lu first pick. This time around, New Heights Gaming has the first pick for the first time in this grand final. Remember, first round it was BB, first pick by Loud, and she absolutely popped off. Second time it was Lu being first picked and completely obliterating his opponents. Now let's see if New Heights Gaming can make this bow count.
Okay. I think that, look, if you want to play a longer set and get plenty of supers off your totem, that's fine. Bow is pretty nasty and pretty effective at some sort of range. Can really bully some brawlers out of the map. But this is pretty face up. I think you're also dealing, don't forget, like we're dealing with a team in Loud that has one of the best sharpshooter players, I would say, in this entire region. I think Firecrow is insane. So,
Mighty meat treat that'll keep
hey,
you
but
on
instead
your
we're going to play the
feet.
complete opposite.
Oh
The Doug.
no, is Gray open? Oh no, it's not. So what are they getting at? Are they going to go Janet? What's the idea here? Look, I see potential for someone to take damage, and then Doug heals them up, and then they get the Doug hypercharge, and then what do they do from there? If you're playing Doug here, it's either an indicator that your opponent has made a critical error or you're trolling. I feel like in a grand final, they're probably not trolling. We don't see them like smiling and stuff, like they're not taking it seriously. Ziggy also incredibly good here, usually a high priority.
Where's the DDS? The Doug delivery system.
I
don't see
like
one.
Janet, last pick.
Okay.
But are you going to win that range matchup? At least they have the ability to react, but picking up Doug early on, I feel like that's a red herring.
I kind of feel like they were just taking away the Dog, honestly. Dog and Bo
Really?
is such a good comp because you get your super from healing your teammates. So they kind of had to go with the Dog. They picked Dandy Ziggy that is just super, super strong in this map. Lou's going to be picked up on the left-hand side now. Yes, he's super good on Hot Zone. What is he doing on Beltrock? I voted for NHG to win this one. They looked super strong today, and they also made it into the grand finals in February. I want to take them at least a set because they're the new bloods, you know? I want some underdogs to win something, and I felt like today could have been the day.
They want anti-tank. That's why they lose here. They're worried about the Doug walking up on them. But what's the last pick supposed to be to round
Is
us
this
out?
really your best?
Okay. That's fine. I mean, at some point, it does look like New Heights are going to want to try and take the fight here too loud. Kaze's great. Fanstorm is such a wide range ability. You've got gap close with Fist of the Brawl Star. There's a lot to like about this pick.
I feel like we're just going to see Kaze aggress this Ziggy, and then he's going to fall back into his backlines, and then what? Maybe he'll pop the gadget to keep her moving forward, make her movement predictable. We cannot overstate the power of Ziggy. He is a phenomenal thrower. He churns out DPS. Having that super in the endgame is a win condition. Kit now appears. Wow. I'm
Kit
here
and Dog
for
is
it.
something we've seen, I believe it was EMEA. I'm not quite sure. Very oppressive comp once the Kit has super available and he gets it over time automatically. Dog can just walk up, farm his own super, and nobody can kill this duo. Also, like you already mentioned, Ziggy's super strong, and they have a thrower. We have nothing really to break open the map completely. Bo, a little bit once he has a super available, but yeah, I think this is chalked, honestly.
Really?
Fingers crossed. I want New Heights Gaming to win a set.
It's a very spicy comp, I think, honestly, from this loud side. Also, New Heights with a bit of a weird one. Can the Lou stop this Doug in his tracks?
I'm certainly hoping so. I don't want this one to be Loud walking through New Heights Gaming into a victory. We need to see them put up a fight. Last time New Heights Gaming were in the finals, it was last month. They took second place. They lost to Eternal in a 5-set series. Loud could make it end in only 3. With Loud falling back so far, it's looking a little promising for New Heights Gaming to see how much Wesley has moved back just by the threat of those attacks from Ziggy. Loud still standing together as a squad. They have one super on their side. It's the Kit. The more damage they take, the closer Doug will get to a super of his own.
Oh, Edinho just needs the gadget here. Cardboard box, move on up. Get connection off that super, it would be curtains. Here's Edinho looking for a way forward. Prozzy, is that an option? No. Firecrow inside the Fanstorm. Unbuffed. There's the dive. Oh, Winona. Is the trade good? Oh, it's better than good. Kaya Dog now, V Wesley in the 1v1. It is Doug. Throws it up inside that field, and Kaya Dog says, I'm not going to bother.
Really interesting. I guess he wasn't interested in feeding that super and hypercharge back to Lou. I feel like that was quite winnable for him, but do they just have the confidence that now that they have this Doug hypercharge, they'll be able to sweep through 2 rounds in a row? It must be. I don't see any other reason why he would have run to the poison.
Here comes Prozzy. Fanstorm again made use of. Much of the map control given up here by Loud. We're still waiting to see what the plan is supposed to be. We've speculated, we've guessed as to what Loud's win condition is going to be, but now it's time to actually deliver. Upcharge. Dino misses the jump. Ugh, this is dude. Kaido trying to run through that field. Dino caught outside of the open. That is a first round here, convincingly to New Heights.
Weird, underwhelming, confusing. We could talk of use all kinds of synonyms for this. What is Loud doing? They are capable of playing something controlled into this, okay? They're capable of drafting this. Instead, they decide to, sandbag, basically, go for this Doug and Kit strat, and then it seems like Doug has a hypercharge, and he could just win that interaction versus Wesley, opts not to. Bizarre.
All right, again, they're forced out of the map. Again, there's 2 sideliners here for New Heights, a good range. Wesley and Winona, respectively, are annoying. Loud have to get out of the Fanstorm entirely. Is the... Okay, Dino. Yep. Okay, that's at least traded out there. Nice connections there by Firecrow. Ziggy does have this super pretty impactful when the gas starts to close in, but there's a question of whether or not this game will go that long.
Yeah, well, Doug is a survival expert, so if he can make it to that stage, then it's looking pretty good. Also, note the wall break. Fire Crow just upwards. Decides, nope, we're not going to screw around with that wall. We're staying awake because we really need that one for defense in subsequent rounds. They have at least one more round to win. If they can get this one, it would be even better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just spelling it out.
They're going to go straight back to the wall, though, and end up having that destroyed. But hey, Firecrow just needs one block. He's like an enderman in Minecraft. You wouldn't believe what they could do with one block. Winona is going to be in trouble. Flattened there by Kyodog, who does seem this comp is very powerful when the gas is close, but now they'll have to start the round with the map opened up.
Okay, is Ziggy going to be the one block wonder? Nope, he wants the bedrock on the left side. It's unbreakable on the right side. That's the combo we needed to see. There's a guaranteed kill on the right. Now the Ziggy Super is in. That's going to slow down Winona if it catches up with him. Looks like he just barely made it out of the way. But a 3v2 is pretty much always a death sentence at the professional level of play and knockout.
Yeah, we see now just how powerful this combo is. Just getting that extra damage field around your kit makes it guaranteed. Winona, upcharge super. Okay, I like what you're thinking here. Dino's able to get out of the minefield, though, and Kyodog did pop super. Still was going to respect the mine damage. There's the dive. Surely this is it.
Oh, yeah, that's got to be the dagger right there. Looks like Doug caught up just in time. Otherwise, maybe Bo could have escaped with his life. But you're just not winning that 1v2. That is the duo. That is a centerpiece of this composition. Ziggy's just kind of here to, you know, put on a bit of showmanship and some flair, get some damage out there.
And zone your opponents away as well,
Yes.
because you are going to give some map control up. And throwers are the kind of brawlers that can allow you to get back into that space, or at least, you know, prevent your opponents from running over you. So, now we see what this comp can do, but it requires a Doug hypercharge. And Loud need to build one of those before they lose the set.
Okay, this gadget from Ziggy is going to be pretty effective at keeping Wesley and Prosy at bay, but now they have to wait for that thing to recharge. Meanwhile, Adinho, this lurking fear on the right side, it could be some damage, but not quite. Really hasty. No one was in position to take advantage of it, though this should be a kill on the right side. Wesley's making his way away. Just barely avoids the super, and Kaze is going to get the execution onto Firecrow on the right side.
I mean, it all starts with a bit of a dodgy dive from Adinho, doesn't it? Okay. Loud say, it's fine, it takes us a couple rounds to build up this hypercharge, so we'll be back, no worries. They have to play from behind here, though. Kyodog does have hypercharge at the ready. Matter of building the super, which is pretty trivial for the Doug.
Just has to take some damage or heal his allies. Here's the hypercharge from Prosy. It's going to force everyone to scatter. Now it's time for Dinho to move. Has to guess at where the enemy's going to go. Well, he's blinded. He's in the fan storm. And now it's completely wasted. Excellent move there from New Heights Gaming. But Loud on their backlines will be taken down at match point. They can't get it done in such a weird draft. Why did they choose that?
It just takes a whole lot. There's so many moving parts. I think I kind of get it. If you want to try for that kind of strategy and you're already 2 sets to 0 up, you go for it. But boy, you need to be able to land these kit dives. Now, some Adinho missed Natty. Some of them, obviously, the fan storm made it impossible. He had to literally guess where his opponents were, and he had no choice. That Dark Hyper was on him. He had to go and had to try and make something of it. Unfortunately, there's just too many fail states for that kind of composition. I'd like to imagine Loud would want to close this series out with stability, looking solid, looking like the team we always knew them to be. But that one was a stinker.
We have at least a set. New Heights Gaming, I want to thank you here for your time, your draft this time around. I wasn't a big fan. I thought it was chalked, but thank you also, Loud, for giving them a chance. I'm so happy.
I think if I do think if Loud got the bow, it's mega cooked, right? Those supers get built up so easy for the Doug, but that's fine. Look, I think those fan storms were really, really, really important there for Prosy, and understood that was part of their win condition making it. So Adinho did this, just missed his dive. Even with that Doug super, there was an answer. Wesley could slow them down. You know, New Heights did draft the Lu to make sure there was a stopping power, some stopping power for the Doug, but you can see how it's not perfect. You can see what this Loud comp can do. It really felt like the stars had to align.
Loud outdrafted themselves here. They went for something cheesy and then failed to execute with it. New Heights Gaming just knew what to do against this. You don't make it this far without being able to deal with like weird stuff that teams that are not as good as you try to pull off to get an upset victory versus you. But this time, it's Loud. The execution...
Did that already last month. Now they're super happy to be standing in the grand finals. And if they win today, at least we do have a new winner also in South America.
I'll tell you this, though. I want Loud to win story-wise because I want to see the return to form for these players. They placed top 8 at Worlds last year. Now they come in and they, get taken down in a semifinal? That's strange, okay?
But then we have a new eternal seconds in New Heights Gaming. That would be pretty sad too.
I mean, sure, but I want to see the top dogs in the region, like, stay on top and stay reliable.
Yeah,
I want to see the consistency.
I want to herald an era of South America not getting utterly clapped at international tournaments.
Me too, yeah, because the furthest they've made it was, what, top 4 in 2021 with INTZ?
Brawl Cup was, they did okay at Brawl Cup, right? I think Loud were, reasonable there. But yes, I mean, INTZ obviously, but that was an event kind of shrouded in controversy anyway, because INTZ World, there was like the online factor, you know what I mean? Like, there's an asterisk even next to that result. Like, I want to see these guys kind of deliver what they've been promising the world for so long.
We are on safe zone, Kaz on the left-hand side just for that damage, going in aggressively, and it already worked quite well for NHG on the previous set. We have Penny and Bell on the right-hand side. I love this comp from Loud. They have so much damage with the Penny turrets, so much control with Bell. 8-bit is a brawler that is picked up quite often in this region, but he can't possibly pick him up into the Bell, so that was a very wise choice here from Loud. On the left-hand side now, Boat could still be an option once more. Or just go with the aggression that Bull offers, of course.
On safe zone, yeah.
Once more have Bull and BB left open, and they're always brawlers that could come in handy.
Charlie, Cord, like, these are ways to deal with the aggression. Penny would ordinarily punch right through all of those spawnables, so you don't really have to be thinking about that anymore if you've gotten it for yourselves on Loud. I see big potential to counter this from Loud. Now, New Heights Gaming, of course, they have another selection of their own. Byron is going to keep those aggros alive and healthy. But what about the defense? That's my biggest question. I see a lot of damage, and I don't see too much in terms of, like, if something gets on top of my safe, then what am I doing?
I don't know if Loud have the comp to race yet, though. They do need some high DPS. Charlie's not an option because she's been globally banned. So yeah, I mean, okay, there's damage. That's pretty good. Yeah, 8-bit is someone that can race quite well, but is not mobile. Can certainly struggle to catch onto Kaze with a lot of these shots. Bull in the face of 8-bit is also going to be a little bit of a problem. I am not sold about this Loud setup.
Penny and 8-bit both need their supers to really do well, and they play into 2 tanks, so at least those supers are going to be available in no time. And we have seen a Penny pop up last week also for Humble in that grand final. I really like the comp of the right-hand side there. Left-hand side, it all just revolves around those 2 tanks actually making their way to safe. Loud could close things out here, but we want to see a set one.
Okay, I want to see how these tanks do close the gap. Firecrow, Salty Barrel there used straight away. Prozzy picked off. And Winona has to find a way in, but Firecrow's in a pretty annoying spot here on the right.
Yeah, and he's not a brawler you want to feed either. Prozzy's going to do his best to circumvent these attacks, but it's not happening. Winona in, attempt at damage, but completely rebuffed. Now Firecrow's in position, and the turret is active. Needed to lock onto that safe, which it is done. And now as long as he can play D around this right side, then it looks great. Winona now killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Oh, never mind, doesn't get the takedown on Firecrow. The Salty Barrel was enough, but at least he got rid of those troublesome walls that Penny wants to hide behind.
Okay, Prozzy is behind enemy lines here, but notice that he's very defensive setup. Yeah, just setting up that damage-boosting turret in allied territory. Here comes Firecrow, should be able to finish off. Now there's going to be a hypercharged turret. This one is the scary one, folks. Now, 2 bombs per salvo being fired off. Prozzy doesn't really have anywhere safe to stand. Those incendiary fields burning.
Hey, it's a good thing that it's targeting him, though, because it means that it's not on the safe. And if Wesley makes 1 misstep, then he could not only be taken down, but allowed that turret to target the safe. Loud now suffering some damage on their side. Prozzy is marked up. It should be just 1 or 2 clips for Nadinho to take him down. Guessing at the position, firing away at the right side. Wesley also with a hypercharge in. It's some pretty serious damage, but on the home front, it doesn't really get that much better. Firecrow's been allowed to set up his turret on top of the safe.
Yeah, that's got to be clear, but will be. Prozzy takes care of it now. Close game, but New Heights do have that lead. I do think they're a little tanky. Nest egg popped out here by Kyo Dog. Wesley trying to get into the map now. Notice the super being flashed by the 8-bit. There's a lot of damage at the ready for these longer range brawlers if Loud can get in position.
Firecrow, without those walls to hide behind, is looking a lot weaker. It's going to be a mark on Wesley that forces him back. It's exactly what we needed to see for Loud. New Heights Gaming taking so much damage. This is a base race now. If Bull can stay alive, everyone rotates back onto defense. It allows Prozzy to push in, and it's an open eating frenzy for New Heights Gaming. one game from going to set 5. I don't agree with the rotation of defense. I feel like if they committed to offense, they could have won the base race.
Quite possibly. I think the bull is obviously pretty problematic up close. I don't love the comp from Loud. I think that obviously Penny quite potent here on the high space map, but your turret has to lock onto the safe, and you need a longer route for that turret to really get your value. New Heights are trying to deny that with these all-in plays. Here comes Winona, eats a nest egg, pops that shield, causes he drops low, and it's going to get some nice little incidental damage on the safe. Hey, 10% essentially for free, that doesn't suck.
No, not really. And New Heights Gaming, I think, have identified that, hey, look, we need to have Wesley on a tank as much as possible. Ooh, nice gadget there from Adinho to keep himself alive, but Winona doesn't seem to have any reservations about pushing in, or he could just use the super on the right side. No, not quite. Defense mode for Loud. And, of course, the T-Bone Injector is going to keep Winona alive for a much longer period. It takes 2 Brawlers to get rid of him, but Wesley is in deep danger. Kaidag or Adinho could take him down. Prosy is punched through on the right side also, so Penny's going to have to get back into position. It has delayed Loud's offense.
I mean, Loud are behind, very behind. Kaidag has hit the safe once. That is the only offense that they've been able to put together here. That Bandstorm as well, it's annoying. If the edge will tickle the safe if you place it properly. This one was a little bit too deep, so no free damage off that. But still, Loud need to get busy with some of the safe damage.
Ooh, Adinho with the teleport forward, opts to go for a defense versus Winona, but he kind of has to. Prosy and Bull are all over the safe. Winona, despite being marked up, still boasts 10k HP. Kaidag in close range, goes for 1-2 shots. Wesley with the delayed super, no healing there, but still tons of damage. Meanwhile, on New Heights Gaming safe, it's like Loud are just starting off the game. They haven't even gotten the first shield broken open.
Yeah, they are, though, in a pretty strong position. There's going to be a window of time bought, though, for New Heights as that knock comes in. Loud are on their last legs. The moment New Heights actually make a break here, this could be over. However, you're starting to see how impressive the Penny can be, and that Fanstorm is being used to damage that turret down, but it's not enough to actually remove it. So the Hypercharge turret is still active, but here comes Winona. Surely now's the time. Yes, go, kill the safe, just beat the crud out of it, and that'll do it. Loud have decided they'd like to play Maximum Brawl Stars in this final.
I still don't really get that 8-bit pick, but you got to give credit where credit is due. New Heights Gaming bringing us to set number 5. It was a match point in set number 3 for Loud. Now they've been dragged kicking and screaming to what could spell their doom in one final set. I still don't really get it. I've never really been impressed by what 8-bit has to offer here on really any map in modern Brawl Stars. Really slow, so much emphasis on defense. Look at all the damage Firecrow's churning out. Like, they just had no aggro, basically. They had a solid setup in game number 1 where Firecrow locked onto the safe, but once the wall was broken down and Winona got rolling, there was no stopping.
And look at that safe damage from Winona. Definite MVP for me here. He got a couple of kills, but he pretty much just focused on damage, and that's the objective of the game, at least in Heist. We have New Heights Gaming prolonging this when we go all the way to set number 5, but they still had so many mistakes. Prosy throwing a Kaze ult not quite on safe.
That's
when does
indeed,
that ever happen? And then Wesley throwing his hypercharge with Byron too late to actually keep Winona alive on the save. Just maybe a bit unfortunate, but yeah, so many mistakes on both sides. I want to see the best possible Brawl Stars now in set number 5, and I'm super Brawl Stars as possible, at least in the grand final. In South America so far, we only had 3-0s and then 2 3-1s.
They get the first big Kaze here as we head straight into Shooting Star, which is huge. Obviously, instant blue star. The Mortis instead was actually banned here by Loud, which I would have thought is a pick they might have tried to go for on a bounty style map. Leon and Angelo joined them, but there's still plenty of those powerful sharpshooters on the table. Double Mortis ban.
I think what Loud are trying to do here is just stabilize, normalize, bring things into a draft where they can just go for sharpshooters, basically. Now, Kaze, of course, is in here, and I feel like it's, a pretty valuable first pick just for getting that blue star, but in terms of defense, you don't really have that much to offer. Also looking at Jean for being banned out, usually a pretty strong duo for Kaze. Can heal up, but also can be a pretty strong operator on defense. So Loud are setting things up for a last pick. Gus is really consistent. And generally, like, look, if they don't want to go for something aggro last, then they can just pick another sharpshooter. Like, Gus isn't a hard commitment. I feel like just playing based on skill is the method for Loud right now. I feel like they have the mechanical skill to just win this if they can make it a control game.
I saw the Kaze and it was like, oh, Byron and Gus are both open. It would be so good if they had it on their side to help the Kaze out. Unlucky for them. But Chloe's also open, and Chloe is a pretty good brawler, as we have established quite often today. We have the momentum definitely on the side of New Heights Gaming now. They just won the previous 2 sets. On the side of Loud, losing 2. Can they turn things around all of a sudden? There's the 8-bits again and Bell. This combination is just another SA special today. I'm surprised to see 8-bits outside of Heist, and it did not work out on Heist. Can it work out here? They have nothing to actually help out the Kaze. Again, Byron, Gus, great options to play alongside her. Chloe's open.
Well, look, what this communicates to me is that they wanted the 8-bit so badly that they also drafted one of his biggest counters. Like, for a long time in Brawl Stars, this
Just take the Bell.
Yeah, this has been a duo. It's pretty, I think, well established that you take 8-bit and Bell at the same time if it's like not banned out and you want to pick up the 8-bit. So, Meeple final selection should be able to box someone so they're less of an issue, maybe move things forward. I agree with this guy as a sharpshooter. Also makes things more difficult for Kaze, who wants to get up close and juke out these shots. Meeple shots are way more difficult to juke because they auto-win.
Quick answer, who has comp? Ready?
Huh? I think this is a loud comp.
Yeah, me too. I just don't think there's enough here to facilitate for the Kaze. And I know like why we like 8-bit and Bell, but I'm not convinced. Loud also could have picked up a thrower and caused them a whole bunch of problems. But Mansions is powerful, and that Meeple superhero Dino's playing is it's pretty busted.
Okay, Blue Star over to New Heights Gaming. They have the lead. They can keep the lead throughout this set. Will be a brand new victor in South America, upsetting some World Finals grade players and righting the wrongs of last month where they fell in second place.
I hate to be hard on them, but I do feel like Loud being in this position is somewhat their fault. I think they've allowed the game to get to this point, so I'd like to see them try and land the plane here because they looked a little bit wobbly. I mean, I'll throw it back to that knockout draft. That was questionable to involve at this point in the series. Still, Blue Star, obviously advantage for New Heights as they have the Kaze in their team, and Prosy can play that much more aggressively right now, knowing there's no Meeple super in play, but you still got to respect his Byron damage.
Okay, Hypercharge super from Winona on the right side. We'll see the box down. Does that really help Loud? I'm not quite sure. Maybe kept Winona from pushing any more forward, but I don't think he was planning on it anyway. The 8-bit turret is down. You don't really want to approach this left side. Serious damage on a Prosy, and now Loud get to fall back on a defense. Wesley thankfully does have a super that he has earned. He can move that forward. It'll be an easy takedown for Edinho and crew as they annihilate it with a responsive Meeple super. Prosy on the right side picks up a kill. It's looking great. Sightlines disrupted. A little damage onto Edinho. Not quite the kill that they wanted. It's still only a 1-star advantage for New Heights Gaming. It really could be anyone's game in the final seconds.
Funny because Edinho couldn't step out of the fan storm where he would have died. He was about 100 HP, so I think that tick damage would have got him. So he stays blind and stays alive. 1 star in it, folks. Blue Star with Loud here. They've got to come forward. Winona a threat. Look at all the nest eggs that have been set up now. And a Mantis of people used to, I suppose, cover up that Bell location. The Firecrow, yep, that damage is going to bounce between Edinho and Firecrow, and the ladder actually falls here. Oh, that was doo-doo butter from Loud. That was not good at all. Conversely, though, I've got to say, New Heights, excellent job with this Kaze. Even without a comp designed to specifically facilitate for her, she's still able to get value.
I just expected the Blue Star to be taken back at some point and then the defense to be there. The individual lanes to be so playable. But Loud retreated so hastily, they found themselves backed up against the wall with no other moves. It's going to be the Blue Star once again. Finally, Prosy is boxed. Nothing really for Edinho to do, but Firecrow can get a bit of damage on a Prosy. It'll be a slight amount of health restoration as Prosy changes back into the Geisha aspect. New Heights Gaming, pretty much where they want to be. They saw themselves getting this Blue Star and falling back on a defense. It would be preferable if they had some utility, but they're slowly farming it up.
You are watching a reverse sweep
in
progress right now. Loud have certainly taken their foot off the gas after those first couple of sets here, and I think New Heights are starting to put the work on, despite us all believing that Loud had comp. I mean, the gas looks good here, the Meeple's very reasonable, but the way that New Heights, Prosy specifically, been able to get into the cookie jar has been incredible. Now Loud have also just impaled themselves on New Heights' spear by running into this damage booster, which is going to be really hard for Edinho to clear. He cannot simply throw down a super onto that wall. This damage boost is here to stay.
Okay, Prosy using his dashes to get away. Now the gadget down, but no super to match. You've trapped Prosy and not really much else. 50 seconds to go. Loud only 2 stars behind. The kill on Prosy would really be everything that they wanted. It's Blue Star tiebreaker, it's the 2 stars, and they've got plenty of damage. Now New Heights Gaming backed into a corner. This would be the time. Now they have to be aware of all the nest eggs dropped on the left side. Oh my gosh, no kill confirmed. I mean, it drops people pretty low. This would be the moment. Edinho's got Prosy trapped in jail. That's one. They get a kill on the top side. Loud could run away, but Prosy knows it's time to aggress. Coyote takes serious damage. A kill on a Prosy. Loud running for the hills. One more push possible for New
Very
Heights.
timely super there for Coyote as his back was being shot at. Now Loud have done enough to get themselves a lead. They can give up a bit of the map, but they've got to respect this 8-bit damage booster. Firecrow is down. There's only 2 stars now. Loud really have to be careful here. 3 seconds left, but no real way to go after Coyote. Not with a gust shield, that's for sure. Loud get themselves the game back after looking lackluster. And finally managed to make this interesting.
Okay, weather update. It might not be a reverse sweep in progress. It comes down to one crucial game. And there's no overtime in Bounty. There is only a tie-breaking Blue Star. 2 minutes from now, we will find out who is the victor of the second monthly final here in South America. Is it New Blood in New Heights Gaming, or is it the old guard of the region in Loud?
Mantis of Meeple doesn't catch anyone, but Loud use it to surge up on either of these side lanes. Edinho clearly wants to be aggressive to try and get the better of this 8-bit before he gets a damage booster set up. Coyote here was crucial. He used the Cookie Popper to destroy damage booster last round, by the way. That's just how problematic that is. But this time, Loud quickly take that map control. This is where Meeple becomes extremely oppressive. Super, though, doesn't quite connect on the Prosy, but enough damage from Firecrow does. That is some sharp shooting from the Byron player. Winona also has seen better days. Wesley needs to check himself and not overextend here, but Prosy might have seen an opportunity to come forward. Edinho falls. Another missed super there from the Byron, but no harm, no foul. Loud still ahead by the Blue Star.
Loud, they're going to stay on the aggro. They know this is where they want to be. Oh,
No
missed.
way!
Wow, I can't believe that hypercharge missed. It was just barely off the mark. Loud still have the advantage, and they have position. Oh, but they've given it up. They're retreating big time. They know they don't really have the Byron super anymore to act as a threat. That kill confirmed that it often is. We'll at least see a Meeple super that proves to be pretty threatening. And could be Firecrow wrapping around the top side. Wesley is there to punish. Prosy's trying to make a hero play. That's going to be the kill confirmed for Loud. They're now 4 stars in the lead with the Blue Star.
Firecrow might be 0 from 3 on supers this round, but at least he hits the shots when the Kaze walks up on them. That's tough for Prosy. Also a Cookie Popper there. Some extra damage found on the Kaze. You know what New Heights' game plan is, folks. They have to run Loud down, and Firecrow's going to respond instantly. Throws that super down. Prosy is in trouble. Picked off. Coyote wants to go aggressive with that bubble of his own, but now a hypercharge pop just for raw stats? Question mark. Loud have fallen behind by 1 star. How are they supposed to make up this deficit? They've taken the game. They've taken the series, and they've thrown it out the window. Despicable behavior from Loud. What a result. A diabolical ending to the series that ends in a New Heights Gaming reverse sweep.
Mountaintop achieved for New Heights Gaming. They fully live up to their name. And from this altitude, they get to look down upon Loud. Front runners in the region from last year, now reduced to a 2nd place team. At least it's an advancement over last month. Reverse sweep, indeed. In a set 5, they can complete it, and they can avenge themselves from last month. And look at the emotions also from New Heights Gaming. I feel like even they can't believe it. They were at the brink of defeat and still managed to bring it back.
And this is what we wanted to see. The grand final going all the way to the last set. Double match point and a lot of happy faces of the winners here. Congratulations to Prosy, Winona and Wesley. They are the winners of the March monthly finals in South America. And how well they played here once again with an 8-bit that we doubted. But it worked so well. And you know what's interesting? As soon as they started putting Prosy on the Kaze, they started winning. Every single time Prosy was in Kaze today, they won the set.
And we came into Shooting Star, and that's the first thing on my mind. The Kaze was, you know, like you mentioned, there was some mild gaps in the previous heist round, but Kaze looked good there. I thought, you have to, if you're Loud, you have to ban this Kaze. You cannot run headlong into it. And even though we said Loud had comp, and we said that because normally you want some elements to support the Kaze. The Gus, for example. You know, and it feels like New Heights picked both the Bell and 8-bit because they felt like they had to. They didn't want to get counterpicked there. But despite there not being a structure to make life easy for Prosy, it didn't seem to matter. He played fantastically there, and again, it's tough to dive into a Gus comp, you know, when you're playing Kaze. Like, you might get knocked back, you might not have the damage, but still, I mean, yeah, look these looks on Loud's face. Like, that is a horrific throw. You know, as much as I want to talk up New Heights, because I think they've played a stunning series and have had the mental fortitude to fight through, that is a disgraceful throw from Loud. I've never seen something like that before. It's filth.
Yeah.
And I ask you this exact question. Who is comp at the beginning of this round on purpose? Because you...
New Heights, I mean, are you? Yeah, I guess you...
We're tied on Preds.
Ah, there you go, because you didn't quite win that outright. I mean, yeah, this shouldn't happen. I'm sorry, this should not have happened.
At next, because we have a different meta in every region, I think that's just beautiful.
It is really nice. I've said this a few times over the course of the day. The dojo, the regional meta, always so interesting to check in and see what's going on. There's no doubt it's going to be different from the global meta. Whoever manages to make it to Brawl Cup is in for a bit of meta whiplash.
Chester was the most picked brawler in both East Asia and EMEA, and he's not even showing up in the top 5. That's crazy to me. Let's have a look at the most banned brawlers, and yeah, there he is. That's why he's not the most picked.
Yeah, look, Crow and Leon as well getting a lot of attention. Ruff's also getting banned pretty heavily, 75% win rate. But yes, the Chester, just such a solid opener that doesn't telegraph too much of your draft. Is such a good first pick to go for. And he's got a hypercharge that is the nukiest nuke I've ever seen in a sort of an arena game like this. So good option, and so many teams have tried to take him off.
Global bans is also something that is different in every single region so far, which is so exciting to me as well. EMEA banned out that Chloe, I think 6 times out of 7 matches in total, so only the grand final in the end had Chloe actually left open, with a very similar picture here in South America for Spike and Bull.
Popular brawlers. Bull made a lot of sense. Spike we saw win like maybe, what, half the time? But Bull was almost always a win condition.
Yeah, I feel like it was, you know, different. It could have been knockout, right, or heist, where we saw the...
We're with North America coming in tomorrow. For South America, we have NHG and Eternal currently sitting in those spots.
If Brawl Cup were tomorrow, these would be your 2 representatives from South America, but Loud has looked pretty menacing, and Olympus squad also, I think, impressed us in the quarterfinals. They just haven't really managed to crack the top 2 like they need to get enough points to make it to the